Hey YouTube, how you guys doing tonight? Kevin here coming at you with another video. A lot more questions. Love them. Love them, love them, love them. Okay, so we're going to get into it. A couple things I wanted to start, I'm going to start off with is a broken piston ring. Okay? I keep these in my toolbox every time I have a broken ring. Typically, I just take the ring and just snap it like that, so it's a little easier to use. You're probably saying to yourself, why do you do that to your old rings? Well, the ring is no good, but the ring is very helpful. A broken ring, say you had a piston, let's see, what did I do with that one? I think I used it. Anyway, the broken ring, okay, that you're pulling off your piston, if your piston is in good shape, you can actually use the ring, the broken ring, to clean the groove and gets all the carbon out. So see how you have on the side of your piston, okay, you can see all the carbon build up right there from bad rings and a worn piston. Well, if your piston is in good shape, this piston's bad. But if you have a good piston like that, well, hold on a second. Here we go. I'll grab this good piston. Okay, say you have a good piston that has very minimal wear. Well, this one's got a little scratch on the side, but whatever. Just pretend it's good. See how it's got a lot of the ash, a lot of the carbon right there? You can then take your ring, put it in the groove, and rotate it and clean out all the carbon. Okay, that way, after you clean up the sides of your piston, and you get it all wiped down, and you put your new ring on, it's not going to stick. So, for this right here, I would use WD-40 and just at an angle and just run it around the piston until it's going to stop when it hits the pin. See the pin right there? There's two pins, one for the bottom ring and where's it? Right there for the top ring. Okay? So it's very important to clean your ring grooves before you put your new rings on. Unless you're using a brand new piston, of course. If you're using a brand new piston, just take everything I said and throw it out the window. But if you're using your original piston and you bought new rings for it, use the broken ring or an old ring. Just snap it in half and clean it. Don't break your new rings. Okay? So that was my tip for the broken piston rings. And I typically keep those with all my little gaskets. Okay? Your exhaust gasket on your KE100s. Your KMs, your KDs, they're a little different in diameter. I wanted to show them to you. And I showed you this before. So you got a couple extra rings in there. These are good rings. See how this one's kind of flat? Well, it didn't start off flat. It started off fat and round. These are crushed gaskets. They're made of copper. And you got your cylinder head right here. And then your exhaust flange. And it sandwiches in between them and squishes them flat. So that's how your gasket should look when it's new. If you reuse your flat gasket on your bike and then you retighten it, it may leak. And if it does leak, it's because your gasket has been crushed and you need a new gasket. Okay, so that's it for that tip. Alright, so we're just going to keep trucking along. You'll notice this carburetor before you. Okay, it's actually in really, really nice shape. You can see underneath, you can see the floats and the, what do you call it there? And the jets and everything else, and everything unscrews. I'll show you the inside of the bowl. We should kind of expand you up here a little bit. Okay, put you like that. Boom, just like so. And you can see how nice and clean it is inside the bowl. Okay, it's got a very light residue on it, which comes off really easy. Alright, but I want to show you what this carburetor looked like beforehand. So I took a picture of it and kind of blew it up. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see all the white corrosion all over it. See it? On the floats. Can't see it now, of course, but I'll show you. See? You can see the white on the solder where the two pontoons have been soldered. But that's pretty much this. All this white crusty stuff inside the bowl, that was water at one point. And typically, your ultrasonic cleaner like mine won't clean that out. I don't care what I use. I've tried everything to clean that out, and I couldn't get it clean. So guess what I use to get that clean? If you have a carburetor that's been sitting in water, say you find a bike on the side, like at a swap meet or something, and the guy says to you, "Hey man, it's been sitting in water for so long." Okay? It's been sitting in water. The bike is junk. Give me $20. You know, it's your bike. Take it. It's a good deal. You can clean that up to make it look like that. Here's what I did to get that carburetor looking like that. I took a bowl, an old bowl. This came off of an old bowl kit that we had that we threw away because a lot of the parts and pieces got broken. But I kept the big one. Okay, it's not going to look too pretty in here. But you can see that liquid that's sitting right there. That's all the debris from that carburetor. You can still see one of the idle mixture screws in there. Okay, I'm going to cover that over because I really don't like the smell of it. You're probably saying yourself, Kevin, alright, come on already. What is that? What is that stuff? That is vinegar. Vinegar will eat the corrosion right out of a carburetor. That carburetor right there that you see before you has been sitting for about 6 hours. If I let it sit longer, it would have done a better job. Now, this is distilled white vinegar. So basically you heard of distilled water that they use in batteries of a car. This is distilled vinegar. Now, what makes this stuff work, you're wondering? It's got 5% acidicity. Okay? It's like acidy. So it's 5% acidy. Okay? That's what works. It's the acid in there that turns the water that's in there that corroded it back into it. And it also cleaned out the jets, believe it or not, which worked out pretty well. So the pilot jet that's inside there cleaned it out because it was pretty bad. I mean, you can see from the picture right before you how crusty it is. And then I'll turn the thing back here. That's basically what it looks like right there. And the floats move nicely. Everything works nicely on it. So that's actually going to be a very good carburetor. Now, what do you call it there? Vinegar you can use for cleaning. You can use it as a parts washer. It just takes a little longer to clean it. But one of the questions I had is, if you have a carburetor like that, how do you get the corrosion out of it? That's how. Vinegar. That's what I use. Vinegar comes in handy for many, many, many things. Okay? That being one of them. You can use it for cleaning your windshield on your car with newspaper. It will make your windows absolutely crystal clear. You can use them in your house, and a lot of people do. Okay, so we're going to move on. So we got that one. I was asked about another style carburetor that comes on some of the earlier bikes, and I call it the square mount. It's not a Makuni, but I'll show you what it looks like. It's got the you know, what do you call it there? Now the neoprene floats, and it basically looks like the KE carb. You know, it came off the early ones from like the 70s. You know, the early bikes. Let's see what's the name on this. No, I couldn't see it. This is that oddball carburetor. I've got a few of these, but we're going to do a video on these tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we're going to touch base on that oddball carburetor because I want to be able to talk to you guys a little bit more about it and spend some time on it. So we'll get into that one tomorrow night. Okay. So that's that part of that. All right. I'm just answering questions tonight, guys. I have a lot of questions I have to go over, and hopefully I can do them in a timely manner and keep it rolling. Okay, so early bikes and late bikes. These are two side covers. I gotta blow you guys down here. Hold on a second. See if I can. This is an Apple phone. I apologize for the inconvenience on this. It is just awful to operate. Here we go. Okay, 2 side covers. This one's got a big scratch in it, but I wanted to show it to you. Also wanted to show you that these are off the same family of bikes. The KD, the KM, the MC1, the G3, the KE100. I don't know if I said it enough, but the KM100, the KD100, the KD80, the MC1, the G3, all those. These are the side covers. However, they look exactly the same. The bolt holes are all in the same spot. There is something different about these 2 bikes. Now, if you look at the shift pattern on this one, it's got first gear, neutral, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay? These are the later bikes. The newer bikes. The earlier bikes have it neutral 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, I had a guy come over to me and say he got one of these bikes, and every time he puts the bike into neutral, the bike takes off on him. When he shifts to neutral, to the first gear, he says it's in neutral. I said, well, then you got the wrong motor on your bike. Or you got the wrong side cover, depending upon the year. And I said, chances are you got the wrong side cover on. Sounds like they put the wrong side cover. They picked up a side cover from eBay on how it looks and threw it on the bike. Now I'm going to tell you how you can check and see which shift pattern you have if you have the wrong cover on your bike. Because a lot of people are like, well, then how do you know? And I mean, you can feel it out, but there's also a visual thing you can do, and I'm going to show you what that is to tell what bike you have. For this, I picked up an MC1. That's a junk engine for parts. The MC1 is a 90cc. Okay, very, very heavy. Cast iron jug, cylinder, whatever you want to call it. I'll blow you back up. See where it says MC. Okay, this is the MC1. It's a 90cc. Oh, what am I doing? This the brightness thing's going out. I hate Apple. Alright, here we go. So we're going to go back down here. Okay. And I'm going to turn the bike motor this way. I'll move it over this way like this. And I'm going to show you something. Move you this way right here. I'm going to try to get both of them in the shot. Okay. See if I can go like this. Blow it up just a little bit. Tab, 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 tabaroo. Alright, so back here is the KE100 motor that we're very common with. Okay. If you look right here, you'll see this bolt. That's a detent for the neutral. Okay. That right there sets your neutral. And that neutral is one down, neutral in the, before second. So it goes first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth. This motor is smooth. The detent would be right here in this area right here, and it doesn't have one. This engine is all the way down is neutral, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? That's the visual outside part. So if you don't have that bolt, that detent right in this area, then you have all the way down to neutral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have the bolt, then it's one down, neutral, 3, 4, 5. So that is that's how that is. Sorry about this camera. This thing's awful tonight. Man. I just figured I'd do a quick video and touch on a couple of things. The other question I was asked is, I looked at an engine was this is I'm basically gonna just give you the gist of the conversation. I picked up an engine, or I'm gonna go look at an engine. What are some of the signs that I can get that the engine is good? It's off the bike. I cannot hear it run. What am I looking for? Well, I mean, obviously you don't want the thing to look like that. This has obviously been out in the rain. You can see the water in there. There's a gap right here. I mean, this thing's just been hammered to hell. Okay? So, first things first you're going to look for, is the bike complete? Is the carburetor been on it? Has the carburetor been left off of it? Okay? So, the first thing you're going to do is grab the flywheel and see if you can turn it over, or the Kickstarter. Okay? See if it turns easy. You're going to listen for a growling sound, like maybe a bad bearing. You're going to make sure that it can complete a stroke. It doesn't go to a certain spot and stop. You're going to make sure it has compression. Now, you can't do a real good compression test on it because it's not on the bike. However, you can get a feel for it that it has compression. You'll feel it when you kick it. Okay? Then you're going to grab your trusty old flashy light. And you're going to look inside the engine right in here. First, you're going to put your finger in, see if there's any dirt or debris on there. And you're going to look inside the engine. Now, if I tip it on its side, you're not going to be able to see it. Let me see if I can get something to chalk that up with. I don't know if I can do this in a way you can see it. But you never know. See if I can throw some light. Oh, alright, yeah, you can see it now. Look at that. Okay, do you see that? You see the little brass, little tube inside there? That's your oiler. See that rusted plate? That is the rotary valve. So this engine, got the rotary valve completely closed, is all dirt. You can see it's all been like rusted. Okay? When you have that, this engine will not come out of it. Okay? Listen to exactly what I'm saying. When that plate, the rotary valve, builds up rust on it. Actually, hold on one second. Let me grab one. When the rotary valve, here's the rotary valve here. See, it's got all the corrosion on it. This is from another one we picked up and we tore apart. That is just going to ruin the inside here. These are a smooth machine surface. This plate rides on it. So if you have rust and crap built, I mean, it's like sandpaper, okay? It's going to put grooves and marks, and it's just going to chew this thing out. It's going to machine it. You know what I mean? It's just not a good idea. Plus, you can't trust the integrity of the bearings. So remember, this plate should look like brand new. If it doesn't look like brand new and shiny and, beautiful looking, the integrity of the engine is lost. Okay, keep that in mind. This is what you're looking for when you're buying a two-stroke, okay? These things are subject to a lot of weather abuse when they're just hanging around doing nothing. Especially if the carburetor is off, because that's where the water gets in. Or if the spark plug's off, okay? So chances are the crankshaft bearings are junk. Wiped out, okay? I'm not even gonna, even though it turns over okay, I'm assuming, because of the water, that the bearings are on their way out too. It might run great for a week or two, but you're going to start to hear that bearing growl. If you see this, the engine's no good. It's only for parts. Okay? Just like this one. Alright? To me, this engine's worth its weight in gold because it's neutrals all the way down to the bottom. Okay? So that's the first thing you're looking at when you're buying a used engine. 1, does it turn over? Is it smooth? 2, is the rotary valve deteriorated, rotted, scored, rusted, look like hell, like it's been sandblasted? Does it look like it's been, just left in the weather? Okay? Those are what you're looking for first. Okay? Condition is everything. Like your pump, you're going to make sure you can move the pump. There's like a tight spot on your pump. Right there. And then it goes right there, and then it goes easy again. The pump has problems with it. Alright? And just from sitting. That's a sitting thing. Alright? Now, there is a cool part to this engine being off. I'll show you what that is. When the engine's off, and there's no exhaust on it, it allows you to look inside the exhaust port. Okay? So I'm going to see if I can get you up here. Just bring it back in. Okay, and we'll take a flashlight. We're going to look in the intake port, and we're going to look at the piston and see if there's any scratches or scoring. Ooh, look at that. See all the scores, all the scratches? Okay, that right there is a beat engine. Okay, and you can see all the silicone on it as well. This engine's been apart, played with. It's got a broken, chipped, coolant fin. It's got issues. Okay? It definitely has issues. I mean, no doubt about it. It's got issues. Okay, so, those right there are a couple things I wanted to show you. And when you have something like this, the engine's been split apart already. You don't know what the problem was originally with it. That's where it comes down to. This right here was someone else's nightmare. Okay? Someone had this engine. They either couldn't get it running or it was running really, really bad. They did what they thought they could do to it to get it working. And it turned out to be an epic fail. Okay? So what did they do? They left it outside. Okay? And those pictures from that carburetor I showed you are from this engine. So make sure you really, really look at the engine to see what you're getting. Because what you're getting may not be what you want. Okay? This engine happens to have a lot of good parts to it that I could still use. Like, I know the transmission part's bad, but it's got the magneto, it's got the carburetor, and it has all kinds of side covers and all that type of stuff, and I can clean all that stuff up. By the way, the vinegar trick will work on these side covers as well. Yeah, this thing has totally not been put together correctly. All the screws have been already loosened up. They've already had it apart. This thing is just absolutely hammered. I can't imagine. I bet you the clutch where it's been opened up like that, the case, they didn't even put it together right. Yeah. They literally just hammered this thing to hell. There's no other way of putting it. It got hammered to hell. So, it's a waste because it didn't have to be, it just didn't have to happen. It literally did not have to happen like this. But they chose it. Like I said, it's an MC1. This is a 90cc. This is not the 80 or the 100. This is the, what do you call it, Dale? The 90cc. Do this. I don't think I'll be able to get all these screws out tonight. Not without hammering on them. Let's get a good clutch mechanism on it. Wow. Absolutely just hammered. Hammered, hammered, hammered. No better way of putting that. Okay. just want to see what the inside of it looks like. I can only imagine. I bet you this thing's just been waterlogged. The clutch must be just a big ball of rust. And you can see the corrosion right on the... That's just been coming off of the thing. I don't care. Okay. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Okay. This engine's never going back together. Oh yeah. Oh boy. You guys are in for a treat to see some rust. Holy crapola. Remember I said it's probably big ball rust? Look at that. Just awful. Literally just awful. Wow. Man. That's sickening, huh? Look at the clutch. That's craziness. They don't even have the right bolts in it. Not even graded. They should have a number 7 on there. On the metric system, the number 7's about a grade 10 or grade 8 or grade 10. Right in that realm. These ain't even that. So they put a clutch in it at one time. It's crazy. Ha! Anyway, speaking about clutches, I want to talk to you guys about clutches. So, we know the integrity of this motor is... I wanted to show you guys a few things to look at, and that's why you check it. Because if you said, oh, I just got to tighten up the cover and throw it all back together, all that crap is going to be inside your engine. So underneath this cover is what where the rotary valve lies, and from the outside, you can only imagine what the inside looks like. Okay? And always check your spark plug. See how the spark plug looks. Is it disformed? Is it too long? Couple things to look at, you know. So keep that type of stuff in mind when you're looking at an engine. Okay. I don't want you guys to get burnt. That's why I do these videos. A guy asked me about it. Basically asked me about it. This engine right here clearly has been sitting out there way too long past its expiration date. So there's that. Okay. So I'm gonna keep moving on because I got another part of this that I have to go over tonight. And, well, we're just going to keep trucking along. Oh, my God. It's like a boat anchor. That's an MC1 too, by the way, guys. And that's the all the way down neutral one. So, that one I just actually picked up the other day. Picked up the whole bike. It had a lot of good parts with the bike. It was a... I forgot what, I don't even remember what year it was. It's just an old beat up bike. All in pieces and box, and guys, I'm not going to do nothing with that. Can you use it for parts? Absolutely. I will take it because I do a ton of these bikes, and it's always good to have some parts. Alright, so now we got that all cleaned up, and these are all moved off to the side. I'll talk to you guys about clutches. Now, these bikes right here that I deal with, that we deal with on this channel, okay, these are not off-road bikes. They're off-road, but they're very light-duty off-road. Okay, they're not very high-performance off-road machines, and a lot of us guys, we like to, we'll make them off-road. We'll soup the hell out of them. Okay, Well, there's a couple things to consider. What, like one is, how come I can't keep up with my buddy's KX100? How come his bike can run the big back gear, the big back sprocket, and mine's stuck with a 40 tooth? Okay. I want you guys to think about it this way. I want you guys to think of diameter. The bigger that diameter, the more power you can apply to it. The smaller the diameter, okay, the smaller the diameter, the less power. These are a very small clutch, okay? These are a very small clutch, and they're only 4 discs. So they have less material. So we're going to angle down here, okay? And I'm going to take a clutch plate from a bigger performance bike, and I'm going to show you the one next to it with the KE, okay? You can see how the performance clutches on a bigger bike, okay, or 100 cc, okay, has more places to grab than the KE. The KE has what? We got 6, 7, 8. Okay, these have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 places to grab. They also have more material. Okay? Sandwiched in with more of these discs. So, they have, I think it's either 5 or 6 discs, okay, compared to the 4 that we have. The diameter is larger, so it has more leverage. We have less leverage. Okay? So, we have to compensate if you're going to use even a Barnett clutch. Okay? I don't care what clutch you use. I don't care if you use a cheap clutch. I don't care if you use a Kevlar clutch. I don't care if you use a Barnett clutch. Okay? The whole key to this clutch is squeezing it. Alright? You want to squeeze it in. The factory springs are very small. Okay, these are the factory springs. Alright? These springs only can grab this clutch disc so tight. Okay? So, if you're like me, over 150 pounds or over 160 pounds, your bike is going to struggle a little bit more to move you than, say, a KX100 that's going to take off into a wheelie, and you're going to be sitting there hanging on to the handlebars for dear life, screaming and calling your mama. Alright? Where when you ride a KE, it's basically a souped up moped that has that can go a lot faster because it's a 5-speed. Okay? Now the KX, that's a 6-speed. It's got 1 extra gear, basically like an overdrive. Okay? The first 2 to 3 gears are all pull. How can you get your clutch that's this big to grab like the big clutches do? Increase the spring. So Barnett makes a clutch spring that's a little bigger. Okay, it's the same diameter, but you can see the height difference. Okay? The difference in that height means it's going to grab that clutch 1 time more. So 1 times your regular spring. It's going to grab it more. Okay, like 2 times actually. This would be a 2 to 1. Okay, it's going to grab 2 times more than the factory spring. What does that mean? That means that this little clutch right here can grab more, can be harder, can be tougher. Okay? When you make that up with a good quality clutch, you're going to get some years out of it, some life. Alright? What are the pros? What are the cons? Okay? The pros are it's going to grab a lot quicker. It's going to have more grip. Okay? It's going to be able to do more than it normally could. What are the cons? The cons are your handle grip where you squeeze is going to be a little tougher. Okay? And you might have to adjust it a little more frequently. Okay? You know, keep up with it when you do the maintenance on it. Because, remember, this whole mount is on plastic. Okay? This is your clutch adjustment right here. Your clutch pull. So, when you're doing these clutches, excuse me, get the bigger spring. Okay? If you performance your bike like I have, I did some carburetor tuning. I put a Barnett clutch in there. I did a lot of upgrades to my motor on my KE102 build. One of the updates that I did was I bored out the cylinder. I had a re-Nickel coated. I've got a high compression cylinder head on there, electronic ignition. This part rate ain't really performance, but I put the Allen head kit onto it. So all my screws are Allen head, and what do you call it there? I cleaned up the ports on the head. I mean on the cylinder. You know, it's got some performance stuff to it. So when I did the clutch, it was a no-brainer to go with a heavier spring. Okay, so remember, you have that right to do that. You can put them in there and it will work just fine for you. I actually recommend it. And for you guys who ask, where do I get this spring? Kevin, do you have a part number? It's on my clutch video under, what do you call it there? Under when I show you all the parts and pieces. So if you go on my clutch video, you're going to see all the parts and pieces breakdown on that sheet of paper. It's all on that. And that it has the Barnett number. So, what I'm going to do anyway, I'll give it to you right now. Okay. The clutch spring kit. Okay, clutch springs. That's the number right there. Barnett. I know it says Arnett because the B's missing. But it's a 501-29-06-051. That's the spring kit for the taller springs, okay? Very important you do that because you want to make sure that you can, your clutch grabs, you know? And, excuse me, I'm really tired. You're putting the power to the rear wheel. You don't want to be slipping, especially if you're in mud. A gear ratio, if you're strictly doing off-road with your bike, if you took all the lights off your bike, a really good gear ratio that I find for these bikes is a 50-tooth rear sprocket and a 16 front. And it seems to get you out of the hole. It's a lot faster on the takeoffs, less strain on the motor, and it's been keeping the motor in a really good power band. So, I would go 50 in the back, 16 in the front, and you should be good to go and increase the spring tension. That's without doing any engine work. No engine work needed. If you want a little bit more power out of the get-go, like a little faster, you don't care about speed, then put a 15 tooth on the front. But I did the video on the Torque Monster. If you look on my channel, you see Torque Monster. That is running a 15 front and a 50 in the back tooth sprockets, and of course the bigger clutch springs. The thing took off like crazy. It wanted to get the front wheel up off the ground when you gave it throttle. It was very peppy, very, very peppy. Top speed dropped down, like I said, about 45, 50. It wasn't in the 60 mile an hour range like a 40 tooth. Okay, now why did they put the 40 tooth on this bike? The 40 tooth in the back, and the 15 tooth in the front is designed for speed, so you can ride the bike more on the road than you can off-road. Like I said, it's good for a dirt road, if you have like that little trail, but you're not going to go mountain climbing with this thing, you know, not unless you do some upgrades to it. So if you guys want to toy around with make your bike a little bit more off-road, change the sprockets, change your clutch and your springs. Oh, excuse me. Alright, I think that's all I got for you guys tonight. So I went over what to look for on an engine that's been sitting, how to get rid of the white corrosion on the carburetor, the clutch, the good use for the piston ring, and the fact that I'm doing the older style carburetor, or the other style, not older, but the other style carburetor. I'm going to be touching base on that tomorrow night on the square mount. I call it a square mount because if you look at the bottom of it, it's more of a rectangle. It's more of a, I call it squared, okay? Where these ones are more of a bubble, you know, they're kind of rounded. You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference on them. So we'll be doing a video on this stock carburetor tomorrow night. Kind of just basically touching base with all the different ins and outs on these motors. I'm like a Bible or a dictionary when it comes to these things, which is pretty helpful when you guys are building your bikes, and that's what I'm here for, to help you guys with support. So remember about the excuse me, very tired, had a great time spam hunting. I'm back, caught a lot of spam. It's been crazy. But remember I told you about the bolt up top. If you got the bolt up top, it's one down neutral. If you don't have that and it's smooth, you won't find that on any of the KEs, but on the earlier different bikes, you'll find it. If it doesn't have that, then it's all the way down as neutral and then up one. Man, I am so tired. I'm going to be going to bed soon. So remember, take your time. Use your, what do you call it, your cell phone. Take pictures. Make diagrams. Revert back to my videos to show you guys what to look for on an engine. When you're looking at an engine, it really doesn't matter if it's a spark or not. That's easy to get. But compression, the smoothness of the turnover, you want to make sure your cylinder is not scored. And when the engine's off, or the exhaust is off, you can look into the exhaust port and see. Okay? Light scuffing is okay. Okay? Lightness is okay. When you have it looking like that, like braille, no, that's not okay. That means you have an air leak. It's sucking air and it's getting really lean, and it's gonna detonate, you know. Two-stroke engines are famous for that because, you know, they try to run them lean as lean as they can get them to get more power. But you can actually take an engine and make it rich and get just as much power if you do it properly. Keep that in mind. So, anyway, if you guys have any more questions or comments, but oh yeah, we went over rotary valves. What to look for on a rotary valve, because that right there is unacceptable. Okay, I use that for demo to show you guys. So, if you guys have any more questions or comments, by all means, please send them my way. I try to get to all of them. I get a lot of people who email me. Lugnuts, LUGGNUTZ76, or they just go onto my Yahoo and send me a message on Yahoo, not Yahoo, Gmail, at the Handy Motorman 76, and I can answer you guys' questions. I don't mind. You know, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for support, and I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. I really thank you for watching my videos, and I have a couple of other places I'd like you guys to check out. What do you call it there? If you go on my page, there's a gentleman on there, what do you call it, Hillbilly Homestead. He's got a lot of great videos. And I also have another friend on there, Harvey Spooner, and he does a lot of Honda ATVs and three-wheelers and that sort of thing. He's kind of into the Hondas, so I'm kind of covering the Kawasaki's. He's covering that. And another person who lives in New Hampshire here is Muncie One, down south of me. And he does all kinds of stuff. He does generators, whatever comes through the door, he'll do. Picks things up at yard sales and stuff like that. So there's a couple of channels that you guys can check out as well. Giving props to. But I'm asking you guys to give not Handy, what do you call it there? So tired, guys. I'm so tired. I've been up for so long. What do you call it? The Hillbilly, Hillbilly Homestead, what do you call it this? Please subscribe to his channel if you get a chance. He's going through the same thing I'm going through with the, what do you call it there? The changes, you know what I mean, to the YouTube. And it's just awful. You know, we're all out here trying to help everybody out. And we're kind of a big YouTube family, if you will. You know, we got different pages and stuff. And, you know, and we all do different things, you know. Like Harvey, like I said, he does the Honda ATVs. Muncie One does pretty much all kinds of stuff, from riding lawnmowers to Volkswagens, I mean, you name it, he's got his hand. If you like Volkswagens, he's the guy to go talk to. And you know, with what do you call it there? Hillbilly, he's got the Ford thing going on right now. He just did a nice video on a carburetor, and I'm a Ford technician. Been working for Ford for many years, and it's pretty cool to see some of the stuff that he's got going on. So yeah, we got some stuff going on. So check those guys out, and you know, definitely I'm asking anybody to subscribe to them, and check them out. You know, there's a lot of cool videos out there. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. If you guys have any questions, by all means, please send them my way. A gentleman asked me if I do 35 and 40 cc engines. I do. Chainsaws and weed whackers, but I typically do those during the summer. So, which I do my lawnmowers and stuff like that. I'm going to teach you guys how to tune those things up as well. I also do pretty much anything and everything. Opening up the bikes from winterization. So we got a ton of videos coming up. But I'm taking this time right now to focus in on these engines right here. You know, what we could do with them, what we can't do with them, the differences, because you can take some of the parts off this MC1 and put them on a KE. They're basically the same thing with a few variances. Okay, so I'm teaching you guys. My goal here is to educate you guys on what's interchangeable, what you can do, what you can't do, and go from there, and what to look for. Because two-strokes are very finicky. You can get a good two-stroke, or you can get a really bad one. You know. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks.